So, okay, awesome. We're just gonna go back to the bathroom. Small spoiler. So I'm just um, one more minute. Give me a second. Let's see if let's give it one more minute to see if anyone else is joining, and then let's kick it off. Okay. Awesome. So I think let's get it started here. I think we should be ready. So yeah, welcome to the kickoff call of season 3, which is kindly sponsored by 1KX. And for some brief call technicalities before we start. So this call is time boxed to 1 hour. We might not need the time, but it's always nice to have it. And just make sure that you're muted and only unmute yourself unless you're speaking, so that people can hear the information that is being conveyed, and it's not too distracting. So for the meeting agenda, today we're gonna just give a brief overview of a Prime DAO, introduce you to Prime Rating, give a brief introduction of 1KX, and I believe Michael is here in the call, who is the DeFi analyst of 1KX. So that's quite exciting. And apart from that, we're just going to go over the season 3 basic information, rewards and prizes, how you participate. We also introduced the rating levels for anyone who's new. And lastly, there will be a chance to ask any questions that may be remaining at the end of the call. So moving on. So what is Prime DAO? Prime DAO essentially made it its mission to coordinate or drive down coordination costs by enabling DAO-to-DAO innovation. For this, they have created 4 different products. So Prime Launch, which is a decentralized token offering platform powered by Balancer V2. Prime Pools, which is a DAO-governed liquidity pool that bridges liquidity between allied ecosystems. Then there's DAO-to-DAO relationships, where currently the proposal inverter, which is a DAO funding tool or collaboration and funding tool, is being built. And then finally, Prime Rating, which is, as you hopefully know, if you looked around, is what we are working on, which is a permissionless framework for quantifying DeFi protocol risk as well as quality. I think someone raised their hand because I think that's the noise. So just let me check. Okay, then no, that's fine. Never mind. Apologies for that. Okay, then moving on. Prime Rating. So what is our mission? So there's soon going to be a republished version of this with an updated mission. But for now, or the prior mission, like for the people, to give you context, also why I'm here right now with Annalie and with also actually Mayank and Lavi, is we're having the Prime Rating retreat, and I'm right now here with them, and that's why I'm also not on my own laptop. But having said this, the mission is to bring transparency to Web3, essentially through providing community-driven research. So this differs slightly from the prior mission, but yeah, it will be published soon. This is one of the key takeaways from this retreat, I think. So For those that are not familiar with our product, like this is our web page. We have two different foci right now. So one is the DeFi ratings and one is the metaverse ratings, as you can see here. And metaverse was introduced with the last Rateathon. The rating consists out of a technical and fundamental report for each of these different domains, and that creates an aggregate score, which is represented as a grade as well as a point score, which is at the end presented on our webpage. And as you can see, if you would click into one of these cards, you would see a protocol, and you can see the overall scoring of the individual subsections of the report, as you can see here with Curve Finance, as well as some information around it. And we also, like, I really would encourage anyone to really put in the effort. Like, we try to highlight the work that our community does by publishing these rating cards every now and then on reports, which are represented like this. And they also, like, we credit you guys. So it's good way to earn a Twitter reputation. And I would now hand over the word to 1KX, to Michael, if you're here. If you want to say one or two sentences, otherwise I'm very happy to introduce 1KX myself, because I'm actually a bit of a fanboy. But yeah, having said this, I would hand over the word to Michael, if you're here.
Yeah, thank you. We'd just love to say a few words. First of all, thanks for having us. We think this is super exciting. Community-driven analytics is definitely close to home, as that's something that I personally did when I started in DeFi. But yeah, 1KX, we're a crypto native thesis-driven fund with a focus on portfolio support. We like to help teams in 4 different ways. First one would be building infrastructure, whether that be market making or lending bots. We also help with token design, so thinking about, where does the token value flow to? What are the different shareholder kind of priorities? How does the token fit alongside the product? And in general, like smaller things like, what is the initial liquidity? How should the emission schedule look like, et cetera, et cetera. We also help with governance, thinking about different proposals, responding in forums, and last but not least would be community. Spending a lot of time building DAOs, figure out ways, especially in DeFi, to create positive sum games. So yeah, super excited again, and thanks again for the opportunity.
No, thank you so much for supporting us. And honestly, to all of the raters here in the call, like, do give them a follow. I think in terms of VCs, definitely top notch, like one of the best, and also super bright minds and among the analysts and founders. So definitely worth a follow. And Michael, drop your Twitter in the chat for anyone to follow you, because I think it's worth it. Okay.
Sounds good. I'll add some team members as well.
Yeah, drop everyone. They need to know. They need to know. Okay, so awesome. So the basic information on season 3. So as you guessed, today was the kickoff, or it was this morning, but officially we're kicking off here in this call on the 23rd of May, and it will last 5 weeks till the 27th of June. The focus is explicitly on the DeFi Ethereum ecosystem, and there's a token list published. We'll go over this at the end to highlight, like, we made one last minute change, and also to just explain it, because it's a little bit more nuanced than the last one in terms of rules, and I think it will be quite helpful for anyone who wants to start rating to understand what the actual process is. So rules, a project can only be evaluated once per rater per season. So you cannot twice submit Uniswap. A project can also cannot be submitted more than 2 times, and we will make it count. Like the first 2 successful submissions will receive the rewards. So what that means in practical terms is that raters cannot what rater 1 cannot write or can write Uniswap. Rater 2 can write Uniswap, but rater 3 then could not write about Uniswap because they would be the third rater, given that rater 1 and 2 were successful, so successfully passed the snapshot vote among governors. So the project eligible for rating are on the Google Sheet, which is linked in our Discord, as well as the Medium article. A small comment here is these token lists, they can always be improved. So we obviously have not perfect knowledge. So if you think there's a DeFi protocol that's really missing from it, do let us know, reach out, and we can add it or discuss about adding it. Again, this was already implied by one of the statements I made prior, but only reports that get accepted by a snapshot will receive rewards and prizes, which is essentially a process to ensure that the quality meets what we expect. And if rejected, a report can be improved and submitted a second time, but only once more to governor vote. And now coming to the more interesting part, or the more exciting part, essentially, for you in particular, I would imagine, is the rewards that you can receive as a rater participating in the season. So we have a flat base reward of 150 USDC and 200 D2D, as well 10 RXP, which are, to quickly explain these tokens for people who are new, USDC is a stablecoin, as you probably know. D2D is the DAO owned token that we have here in PrimeDAO across our products. And 10 RXP is specific to the reputation, is a tracker of how many reports, as well as how many experience points, like the ticker stands for rating experience points, like a given individual has achieved. And rewards for no token projects are 100 USDC, as well 100 D2D and 5 RXP. Priority reports, so these are reports that are shortlisted. We will come to this later at the end when we show the DeFi token list. They receive a little bit higher because they are of special interest to us or our partners, and they receive 200 USDC, 300 D2D, and 10 RXP. So we also, to incentivize early submissions, we have a 20% bonus in the first week and a 10% bonus on rewards in the second week. And this what I just explained was the base payout that anyone can achieve, but we also reward special contributions or special accomplishments, which is on one side best quality. So for best quality, which is determined by the governors that are like have a RXP threshold of above 200 RXP. You will receive the winners of these best quality reports will receive 1,000 USDC, 2,000 D2D, and 30 RXP each. And there will be 3 reports selected. For the most submissions, you will get 2,000 USDC, 2,000 D2D, and 30 RXP. And for the second place, you will get 1,000 USDC, 1,500 D2D, and 20 RXP. And lastly, for the third place, you get 50 USDC and 1,000 D2D and 10 RXP. So I'm getting a quick intermission here from the team that was telling me that it's 2,000 USDC, and I have a typo on my slides, so apologies for that. And what was the other typo?
You said 550.
Okay, I said 50 USDC. Obviously, it's 500. Apologies. And how does this whole process work? So what do you need to know to submit a report? Essentially, you decide on a project you want to rate. From the token list, you will add your name to the token list, and you will then take the report template from the Git book, make a copy of it, write down the answer to each section. So have a look at the template. When you're ready, upload the report or like submit the report into the Discord feedback channel for report feedback, where a reviewer, who's a person who has achieved 100 RXP, so has already done some reports, will give you feedback on this report. This is at no cost to you at all, so you won't get more rewards if you submit without a review. This just to point this out, because I think that sometimes that may have led to submissions without a review. I also would highly encourage it, because I think you can maximize your learning there. Once you've done there, implement the feedback from the reviewer, or and then finally submit the final report in PDF format through a submission form, which you also find in the Git book, and announce it in the report or in the submit report channel, so that it gets noticed quickly, and then just repeat the process. And I think this brings us already to the one thing I wanted to say, but I will also go on the actual token list. I just will need a minute to pull that up, so I'm thinking of going through the slides, and we'll then pull it up afterwards. But to quickly highlight the levels that I mentioned throughout this presentation, each level comes with its own privileges, which is, as you level up to a graduate, from a novice to a graduate, you will receive higher USDC base rewards, as well as higher D2D base rewards by 10%. You will also earn the reviewer skill, so that you can review other reports, and a review is rewarded with 100 USDC and 100 D2D tokens. And as you graduate, or like outgrow the graduate level, you become a master, which gives you a 20% increase in your pay, as well as the governor skill. So that means you can participate in approving snapshot votes, or disapproving them, as well as sorry, I lost track there real quick. My bad. But as well as the rejecting or adding of reports. And Grandmaster, you will get a 50% increase. The skills don't change yet, but there might be new functions that are going to be implemented, and the Legend skill gives you a 100 increase from the base reward. And with all of this, you get these cool badges, which you should receive. Like some of you will still receive some of them going forward. And this brings us to resources, which is essentially, do check our YouTube channel, because I'm not saying this for subs, but I'm saying this because we uploaded some material where we go over the rating framework, or the fundamental analysis template, and go over the different sections and show you how, or what we are looking for when we in an answer by raters. And I think you learn quite a lot of what we value, because it's fundamental analysis, and it's always to some degree subjective, but there are some do's and don'ts for sure. And also the Medium article, which outlines all the different rules again that I've mentioned here, as well as additional details and some cool memes. So do check that out too. And this brings us to the Q&A, but I would quickly interrupt to show you the token list and just go over that so that it's clear. So 1 second, just let me pull up the token list. I'm going to reshare my screen. So this is the token list. So the first thing I wanted to highlight is that we lowered this level. So before this was 200. We lowered the level for the token list to 100 RXP. So this means graduate level raters can only do this first screen section here. So if you have under 100 RXP, you won't be able to do this. Then the second marked, so the first one, the first colored block, as well as the second colored block, show priority reports. The only difference here is that here the top ones are for graduates and these are open to anyone who wants to make a submission. And after this, you will see a lot of white colored protocols, which are open for anyone to review, and they are compensated with the base reward. And a best practice is, but this doesn't guarantee submission, is to enter your name next to it. As mentioned, it is somewhat of a competition that you only the first person submitting the report will get the priority compensation if this is if it's marked as such. I hope that was clear. Otherwise, do ask me, and I will now go back to the other slides to open the Q&A officially. So 1 second, and do drop the questions in the chat, or feel free to raise your hand, and I will let you speak. So any questions? Okay. So
hey, how's it going?
Hi. Feel free to ask.
Does it, you can hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, great. Quick question regarding the regulatory section in the V2.1 template.
Yeah.
I spoke to a couple people regarding it, and it seems that, if I understood correctly, due to the nature of a DAO, that it's, you know, it's not necessarily governed or regulated by any sort of legal entity and or jurisdiction. So I know you mentioned something about potentially putting it up for a vote to just remove those, to remove that section. However, seeing as most of these protocols are focused heavily around the DAO business model, are they just, if it is a DAO, are we just completely putting it as, you know, not applicable in terms of scoring?
So I think there's two things quickly to differentiate. Like the first one is the discussion we had in Discord. That's something it doesn't apply yet to the framework. So do rate it as it is. And if it's a DAO first approach, so they do not have an entity, because what a lot of teams do is they start with an entity and then progressively decentralize, right? So if this is not the case, so they do DAO first, then you can mark the section as non-applicable.
Okay, thank you.
No worries. Okay, I see the chat is putting some questions there. So Brian, is there any reason why some are considered priority over the others? There is. So we have some on our website. Like there's a couple of different reasons, but yes, there is. In short, the first one is that we, as part of being a sponsor, you get the privilege to put some of these onto the short list or onto the priority list. And also, if you look at our ratings, sometimes what you see is that we have the technical report, but not the fundamental yet. So obviously, in order to have a complete score, it's in our interest to add or like encourage submission of a fundamental report. And that's why we put them onto priority list. So I also see Godfrey, I could see there's an area about collaborating. How does that work? Are the rewards splitted? Yes, this is a great question. We updated the type form, so you can submit like raters, up to 2 raters can collaborate at the present, and just carefully fill out the type form, and you will have the opportunity for 2 raters to provide their addresses, and rewards as well as RXP, and potentially prize money will then be split across these 2. So for now, it's only limited to 2 raters because much more makes it quite complicated. Like also in terms of it's not sure if this is something where we want to go, to be quite honest. But yeah. I see Bob posted a question, and do let me know by any means. Do interrupt me if any of my answers don't make sense, and or if I should elaborate on any points. So Bob, I see. Please clarify, what do you mean by non-token report? Good question. This is exactly actually what I mean. Like this is a good example where you should ask me to clarify. A non-token report is one where the token isn't live yet. So a good example, I think, is Open or Z protocol. Yeah, so where the token is not live yet. Best quality, where can we see prior best quality reports? So there should be some linked within the Discord. Otherwise, there is not a exclusive list published yet, but I think we can create something. And I think also in the Git book, there are some listed. But yeah, like I think just look through Discord is probably the best option, or ask explicitly in the chat and we can direct you some. And how many submissions were required to achieve most submitted rewards in prior seasons? So highly depends on the season, how many people participated, but I think like we saw up to 8 to 12 submissions. Last season it was a little bit newer, but I think that was like a little bit lower. I believe 5 submissions made most submissions. But having said this is also was a new area that we were exploring. So the metaverse the metaverse framework was one of the first of its kind. So I expect probably something between 5 and 8. Okay. Any more questions? Okay, awesome. Brian, sure, feel free to speak.
How is the retreat?
Oh, good question. No, it's a lot of fun. Very productive, I would say. I think we had a chance to think about a lot of different issues that we saw and that we would like to improve. So I think that I think you can expect quite a few things to happen in the next half a year to year, which hopefully makes this a lot a better product. And yeah, I'm quite hyped actually. But yeah, and in general, it's for many of us the first time we see each other in real life, which is yeah, it's always a different experience. I'm sure you, like, for whoever was in crypto for a while, it's always a little bit quite interesting to see, but it's very good, very good. Okay. If there are no other questions, we can even wrap this call up already. So I see Michael is still on the call. So if anyone has maybe a last question for Michael, if we can put him on the spot. But yeah, then do drop it in the chat, because yeah, as I said, a little bit of a fanboy of 1KX. But else we can wrap it up, and if there should be any more questions, then feel free to post them in Discord, and we're happy to get back to you. And yeah, DMs are open. Awesome. Then thanks for joining, everyone, and thanks for joining, Michael. I hope this is going to be a good season. Let's rate, guys and girls. Bye.